Hello on this gorgeous day. Um, I hope everybody's enjoying the sunshine. We certainly have. I've taken my dog for a walk today. So beautiful blue skies and green grass and lots of green leaves on the trees, which was fantastic. I might do a video tomorrow of my area where I take my dog for a walk because it's rather beautiful, I have to say. Um, I thought I'd come on because while I was on my walk with the dog, things were going through my head. I watched a video um, about a children's perspective of narcissist parents or narcissist families. And it really, really kind of hit me that that was in a lot of ways, it was my upbringing. Um, and not always, because what they went through was this particular family went through was pretty atrocious. Um, but I managed to connect with a lot of what the children were saying. Um, like it brought up a lot of triggers that I think I need to go through and heal from. Um, Things that I've kind of shelved. That's a good word of putting it. I heard that, that situation happened. We shelved that. Um, and yeah, I was going through a few examples in my head. Like one of my family members is a sports person, and we went to one of their um, sporting events, and we were carpooling. So, and and on the way back, they were to drop me off, and they didn't do very well in the sporting event this particular time, which is very unusual because this particular person's very good at their sport. But I had a really bad day and hurt themselves while at the sporting event as well. So they were in a lot of pain, and yeah, and instead of just like getting somebody else to drive, no, that person was going to drive, and complained about it the whole way. And I was sat in the back, and I was just trying to make myself as quiet and as small as possible so I wouldn't be targeted, because throughout my life I always seem to be in the wrong, damned if I do, damned if I don't. And so I always used, around my family, try and make myself as small as possible, but as helpful as possible. So, I would always be there trying to make their lives easier, because that was how I made to feel. Katie's always a nuisance. Katie's this and Katie's that. And Katie's mouth is as large as Dark Tunnel. Don't tell her anything. She'll just, she'll go tell the neighbourhood. Katie's too loud. Katie's too common. Katie's too posh. Nothing I did ever made anyone happy. And so, yeah, there's one particular occasion I said, oh, you need to come off this. We were on a motorway, and you need to come off at this junction. I know. You don't need to tell me. Oh, all right. Okay. And then they came off at the wrong junction anyway, and I thought, well, I'm not going to say nothing. And then when it came to the turning, which was a one-way system, and they were on the wrong way of the one-way system. Why didn't you not tell me, Katie? Well, because you told me to shut up. Told me not to say anything, and that you knew where you were going. Well, obviously, in this situation, I don't live round here. You do. You should know where you're going. Well, okay. So yeah, damned if I did, damned if I didn't. I remember another situation as a child. I was a dancer. Come from a very sporty family, I think. But I used to do dancing, and there was a dance competition that was held every year at Butlins, and it was on a long weekend thing that we used to do around about Easter time. And this one year, I wanted to go to swimming, and I'd spent the whole weekend in this dance competition, and I wanted to go swimming. And my dad decided that, he was so tired after this dance competition that my feelings and my wants were not important. And even though he had promised that I could go swimming, um, so he very angrily and frustratingly told my sister that she had to take me swimming. And she was like, oh, what? I've been to the swimming pool like 20,000 times this weekend. Why do I have to take her? But so yeah, she was made to, and she made my life and the experience so bad that year after year after that, I never asked to go swimming. I never asked anything of any of my family, because if I did, I was always made to feel like I was asking for too much. And also as a child, I was quite poorly when I was a baby. Not my fault. Born that way. Sorry. And so I spent a lot of time in and out of hospital. And so I always seemed to take up my mum's attention. And my older siblings were always left with my dad, which probably wasn't a very pleasant experience for them. But, I don't know. I wasn't there and too young to know. But knowing who my dad was at that point, and the sort of person that he was to not only his children, but his own wife, I'd say it was a bit of an unpleasant experience for them. So I was always a nuisance, always got in the way. I didn't know anything. And even to this day, I've heard them, or my mum's tried to compliment me by telling me that they're so shocked that I've got an intelligent thought in my head. I remember once my sister was, she had a situation, and I was meeting them for dinner around there after work, and I got back from work, and I went to her house, and she and my mum had apparently been there all afternoon trying to figure out how somebody she knew was money laundering. It's just random. And I explained it to them. And they'd been sat there for hours trying to figure out how this money laundering scam had been going on. And I was like, well, hang on a minute. Did you not just say this happened and that happened? And yeah, there you go. That's how the money laundering was done. And also I was trained in it. I used to work in a bank. So we knew a lot about money laundering and when you work in a bank. And yeah, and hey, did that just come out of your mouth, Katie? Well, yeah, it did. Yes. Well, what do you think? I've been working in the bank for the last year. And that shocked them. I even got a job in a bank, because Katie's rubbish at maths. Why did Katie manage to get a job in a bank? Well, hello. Yeah, I'm not as rubbish as you think I am. Yeah, so damned if I did and damned if I don't. And yeah, I was state mentored as well as a child, and so I went to special needs school, so I never knew anything, and I was a lot younger than my siblings, so my siblings had grown up and got married and had children way before I did, and it also didn't help that I had health complications in my early 20s, which meant I couldn't even if I wanted to, could have children at that point. I've got my beautiful son now, which I call him my miracle. And yeah, I didn't know nothing about marriage. I didn't know nothing about relationships, even though I was at one point being bribed by one of my family members' married partner. When I'd see him in nightclubs and that, when I got to that stage, or pubs and that, with a different woman every time, or a different man every time. I didn't know nothing. So much for my Dartmouth big, huge mouth. I don't know nothing. And then when it all came out and that I knew, wow, two of my family members didn't speak to me for a long time. Years, in fact, years. Because I should have told them. Well, I kind of did. But you told me that I didn't know nothing about marriage. I didn't know nothing about relationships. And then obviously they all had children before me, and I didn't know nothing about raising them, and I should keep my mouth shut and my opinions to myself. And yeah, that was a good one. Opinions. I'm going off track now, but all of my feelings, all of my opinions didn't matter. They don't matter. I'm oversensitive. Okay. Well, you make a child from the moment they have their first memories that, their opinions are no matter. Their feelings are not to be validated. You're going to have a very sensitive child and young adult on your hands that feels self-worthless. But no, it's all done out of love. Not narcissism at all. No. It's all my fault. I'm oversensitive, of course. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't even know where I was. It makes me smile. It makes me giggle, because if I don't smile or giggle, well, what am I on this planet for, really? But oh yeah, children. My opinion don't matter. I didn't know. I don't know nothing. And then when I did have a child, my first child, how would I know anything? And everything that I was doing is wrong, because they know, because they've had multiple children before me, and their children are so much older. They know better than me. Whatever. I spent years being very close to them, because, like I say, I've always tried to be good. I've always tried to be helpful, always tried to be at their beck and call. So, whatever they needed, if it was babysitting their children, or, even though I didn't know nothing about children, if I was there, even to cook Christmas dinner. God, how many times I cooked Christmas dinner? And then they would all come round, eat all my food I had paid for, because they didn't used to help out with that. And we're talking, big family of people in it wasn't my house then. In actual fact, this house that I live in is my very first house. I'm in my late 40s, and I've actually got my own house for the first time in my life. But yeah, so it was my mum. I lived with my mum for years. I did used to rent and things like that, like apartments and things like that. But no, this is my very first house. That's mine. My name on the tenancy is mine. So they used to come round to my mum's house, and I used to feel really like a slave. You know, I'd be there topping up their drinks, whatever it was, alcoholic or non-alcoholic. Always running to the kitchen to get them things, cooking their food, and then left with the washing up afterwards. Just what a joke! What a joke! And yeah, and if I said anything, I was oversensitive. I was putting too much into it. You know, they didn't think about it. I know, because they didn't think about me. That's the thing. You don't think about me. You don't care about me. Oh, of course we do. Do you? Really? Really, do you? Really kind of look yourself in the mirror and ask that self again. But yeah, so yeah, that was going through my head today, and I thought I'd work through that. I kind of think of this as a bit of a therapy for me, kind of to try and get it out of my head. These things that go through my head, memories and situations and feelings. I don't know. I haven't got my mum to offload to anymore, so I offload to you guys. I've seen that I've got 11 subscribers now, so thank you for even bothering to listen to my trifle. Because I don't always make sense, but I'll certainly try. And yeah, so anyway, that's it for now. I'll speak to you all very soon. So thank you. Bye.